in listen-only mode.
Good morning, Vietnam. No. Good morning, Network Empire. Good to see you guys. I was going to say good morning, Vietnam, but that would have been inappropriate. Looks like everybody's here. It is 11 o'clock exactly. The time just changed in Phoenix, Arizona. And Matt Cruz is in South Africa. Lucky duck. Greatest surfing in the world. Huge waves. People travel all around the world to go there, including some of my friends from Hawaii. What time is it there, Matt?
8 o'clock in the evening.
8 p.m. 8 p.m. Okay. Looks like everybody is. Let me just get the fingers and the brains working. Let me see who all is here. Matt is going to be going over the awesome stuff, which is promotion citations we're going to start with. Then we're going to get right into the one feed. Last week's homework assignment was to sort of get prepared, not sort of get prepared for the one feed. It means knowing your RSSs and all these types of things. Now, we did cover that a little bit in Tech Foundation 1. Those of you who have taken Tech Foundation 1 have a little bit of a better background with this type of thing. And that's okay. Those of you who do not, we will get you up to speed. And this course is not required. Tech Foundation 1 is not required for this. Welcome, Don Worthen. It's good to see you on the call bright and early. Joe, Jonathan, Joseph is here. I'm taking roll call. Kevin, interesting. We have a certified advisor stepped in. Looking for updated information on the one feed. I'm sure Kevin McCarthy is a 2-year double veteran of live certification, extremely skilled. We have to keep our eye out for him these days because he's doing all kinds of wickedness with PinVid and everything else. Good to see you, Kevin. Lionel's here. Neil, Renee, Scott, and Steve Melton is also a certified advisor. Good to see you, 2-year veteran. Good to see you here. I was talking to you this morning about a couple of things, and I'm currently looking at your PinVid server traffic spikes right now on my other giant monitor as I get Steve set up. Tawny, it's good to also see you. Thanks for the great questions yesterday about the plugins. Tawny has been urging me to get the beta tests of a variety of different plugins out that he's excited about. So it's really good to have all of you. You have no idea how wonderful it is to have people who are starting to understand what it is that we're talking about. You are the elite and the few, I've got to say. I mean, we don't have a gigantic market for people who understand how that everything is connected and technologically connected. So it's really good that you guys are going for it. Looks like Michael Durr, also a veteran, live certification vet. Good to see you, Michael. And quite an experienced online entrepreneur. It's good for you guys to get to know each other a little bit in the Skype group so that we can work with everybody's strengths. All right, so I just wanted to quickly open up, now that we looks like we have got pretty much everybody in the course here. Last week's homework assignment, I have 3 students who have provided me with their Google Doc. And it's fine if you didn't get around to it. I realize that some of you are here for the technology. You want the tech stuff, and my stuff was more about psychological technology. I will say that you guys know that the reason we cover that is because when you're blasting out to the broadcast network, we want to make sure that you are getting all the nested memes and using every single tool in your arsenal to be able to draw the click. So even if you're distributing your traffic network everywhere, you can increase the actual interaction with that network. So that is the main reason that we want to do that. So you can always just hit me up personally on Skype so that I can go through your homework assignments. And if there is anybody who would give me permission, some of you have very, very good stuff. I really like Brian's. If you would give me permission, even if you take your name off of it so we could show examples of homework assignments, I would like to post some of those if you are willing. In the area, you are free to remove your name after I correct it and talk to you or chat with you quickly personally about it. And I'll leave that up to you. Okay, so we're going to jump right in, and give me a 1 if you have prepared your if you have a general idea on your WR1 sites where your RSS feeds exist. Give me a 1. Okay, looks like quite a few of you do. And that's really, really good. Yes. Yep, and I just wanted to comment on something I said recently. Tim, yes, thank you. I'm looking at your homework assignment right now. Brian is also going to give me permission to post his so you guys can get a different perspective on those last week's homework assignments. Okay, we didn't get as much into headline writing as I had wanted to in that last webinar, so we're going to squeeze a few of that in, those things here and there. Those of you who take Tech Foundation 1 can get into that. All right, so Matt, looks like we have most people kind of know where their RSS feeds. If any of you guys have problems, Matt and myself will be available in the Skype group. We know where most of the RSS feeds are for various things that we covered in week 2. And they do, some services tend to change things around a bit, as you know. Generally speaking, we'll give you up-to-date. For example, Storify completely changed the location of their RSS feed, and Matt and I have posted the change on the wiki under the Storify RSS. So again, these are things that I'll put inside the members area for you guys to be able to gain access to. All right, with no further ado, I'm going to get out of the way because this is Matt's week. He's been busting his hump to get all the specific details. I mean, we know how to do this stuff in our head, but writing it down so that step by step is really quite the challenge for us. So we're glad that we're able to do that for you. And thanks for your feedback as we go through this process. Matt, thanks so much for preparing all this. This is badass stuff.
Thanks a lot, guys. Okay, guys, can you give me a 1 if you can hear me clearly, and a 2 if you can't, just so I can do an audio test quickly. Hey, Kevin, how's it going? Excellent. How's it going, everyone? Okay, so what we're going to do today is we're essentially going to look at 2 parts of promotion, and we're going to start with the citations and promotional accounts, and just segment them and basically break them up into some ideas. And then from there, we're going to hop into the one feed. We're going to quickly touch on the light, simple version, and then we're going to progress into the advanced version. And we're going to show you how we actually start stacking on more and more layers into the one feed system, which then creates a wider broadcasting net, if you can imagine it. Okay, so let's get started. So you know the team already, guys, so I'm going to skip that slide there. Promotional activities. So for the guys who are new to all of this stuff, I just put a few slides to just quickly walk you through basic concepts and goals. Okay, that's going a bit fast. Sorry, guys. I thought there was something not right there. Here we go. Promotional activities. Okay, so typically our promotional activities are broken down into 4 categories. We've got promotional, telling the world about our solutions. We've got conversational, communicating and interacting with our audiences. So that's when we sort of posting on the forums, we're speaking in Hangouts, we're chatting through Facebook, we're doing all those kind of things. Those are typically our conversational type of promotions we can do. Then we've got our branded and our local. This is where essentially the thought is you can find me here, I'm real, buy from me here. Okay. Then we've got media. It's the distribution of our sales digitally. Okay, so that can go through YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Instagram, podcasts. We can push out PDFs, PowerPoints, XLS. There's all kinds of medias we can use, images, video. That's all our media promotions. So typically when I work with promotions, I think about these 4 categories, and I say to myself, how can I best tell the story, and how am I going to best communicate this, and what promotional activity am I going to actually engage in? And these 4 categories tend to help me make more sense of what I want to do. Okay, so the basic concepts and goals. With our promotions, we typically want to lead and engage the users to our blog and to the money site. So whatever we put out there, our goal is to bring them back into our network. So when we build our WR1, it's our transaction engine, our broadcasting engine. We then start building out the WR2. We engage other different sectors, and we're pushing out all these communications out across the web. Our goal is to bring them back onto our network, onto the properties that we control and that we've got the golden frame for. Okay, so we want to interact, engage, and then finally transact with this traffic stream, with these people that are coming in from the web into our networks. We want to transact with them. Okay, so with this in mind, we want our promotions to lead the users through our WR and our WS framework. When the traffic's within our network and within our websites, we can control what we present to them. We know roughly by the keywords that we're using in our silo architecture what the interest typically might be, so we can actually prepare better headlines, and we can present better images to the guys through our banner ads. And when they're in our network, we can then start controlling where we're sending them to, or we can actually capture the details at any point in time. So that's the basic idea and concepts of what we're trying to achieve with what we're doing. Okay, so the WRS and WS framework is your network of sites and social properties that you set up and are planning to set up. Okay, so once we've got our framework up and our network's built, we want the traffic to flow in. Okay, so if you're a local business, what we want to look at today first is, just for local businesses, is the citation accounts. And setting up the citations and getting it connected properly so that we can start dominating the traffic stream that comes from the search, the local search accounts. Okay. So citations are typically for businesses that are real. Okay. Local businesses or businesses with a street address and have foot traffic, we want to make sure that they are published in directories that will allow the people to find them easily. Each citation property has potential to get ranked. This enables you to control multiple page one ranking positions. Okay, many citation property, the money site, and the image that's going to follow demonstrates a sample of a citation domination blueprint. So the whole point of doing citation for local websites, guys, is to control the front page and to try and capture as much of their traffic and bring them into your network as possible. What I've done for you is I've just mapped out a basic citation blueprint for you guys. So what we have here is our money site in the middle. And we typically have the citation sites where we can post our properties on. This is the business name, the address, the phone number, street address, typically a little introduction about the business, and then images. Okay. The same can go into industry directories, local directories, okay, and we can do branding on our images. So any images we get into Google, we can actually put our domain name, we can put a street address on, we can do what we want with the image marketing, and then with video, we can use our videos for our local marketing as well. What we also have is our social type of properties. We've got Google Places, Facebook. Those type of places can be used for local marketing as well. Then we have our ratings and our reviews. So typically what we're going to do here, guys, is, can you guys hear me? Can you give me a 1 if you can hear me? Okay, cool. I thought I lost the connection there. Here's a question from Jonathan. How important are citations even for non-geo sites, such as e-commerce sites, so it makes Google, makes it to Google look more real? I had the same chat with Jimmy about this whole topic, and Jimmy says he'll use citations wherever he can to make the business look more real, purely because it authenticates the website. So if you are selling actual products and you have an address that you can tie that to, then yes, I would basically put that in the citations. Okay, so what I want to do here, guys, is with the ratings and reviews, the way this image works is in the center we have our money site. We have places where we can put the same address and local information about that actual business. We've got our media, okay, and then the ratings and reviews. We want to build those up. Now typically with the ratings and reviews, what you want to do is you want to link from the rating and review back to the image, back to the local directories, back to the industry, and back to citation sites. From the citation sites, you want to link into your money site. From industry directories, you want to link into your money site, local directories into your money site, from your images to your money site, from your video to your money site. And when we do all this kind of stuff and we link and connect it all together, essentially what that does is it gives us a solid structure from the local citation point of view. Now for the guys who have been using GSA and the guys who have been doing the domain authority stacking, then what you can do behind these properties is you can give them little boosts, and all this DA flows back down to your money site. But what's also interesting is on the front page of the website, you get multiple of these authority directory type of sites ranking with a link to your website as well. So it's a really, really good traffic method, and it's not hard to do. What we've done for you guys is I'm going to post this link into the chat channel here. Okay, and this link that I put into the chat channel in go to is essentially promotional account creation DFY master directory we created for you guys. In the first position here in green, this is where we have the most important platforms you can use with the address for the URL and the sign up URL, and then also we've got secondary accounts that you can use as well, and it tells you if it gives you RSS feed out and what it does. So we've got all the information. For the citations, we've got the country-specific citations. so we can see by country. So for example, column D, these are the national and local US directories. For Canada, these are the national and local. For the UK, and as for nearly most of the English speaking, there's for Australia, and as we go on, we can see more. These are properties that you can use. So coming back to the citation here, typically with citations, guys, you're not going to use hundreds. There's maybe, I'd say, 5 or 10 at the most that you'd use for your local business, and that is more than enough. So essentially, subscribe to the citations, the industry directories, the local directories, link back to your money site, take note of these places. If they've got RSS feeds, become aware of them. But with this linkage coming in, you can then do a little domain authority stack behind these, and that will get those to pop as well. It doesn't take much hard work. And I've got some screenshots of what I did with Sassy, where essentially we control on some of the keywords to control the whole page, the whole front page, just by doing this. And it's really, really good. I was looking at Google Places today, and they created a Google Business Dashboard, which essentially brings your citations, your reviews, and it brings the analytical local traffic information in. It's still pretty new, but it's pretty nice. It's really a nice dashboard that you can actually use. Let me just bring that up if I can. Let's open a new tab. So here's the dashboard. It's under my business, and for the reviews, I can now see that I have no reviews listed. So I can go from here. I can actually create my reviews from users, and we can create reviews from the web, and Google's going to actually go and pull this all in. But yeah, you can see there's the business. It's verified. If I click on my business, yeah, I've got my verified stamp. I'm just waiting for the page to load for you guys. Can you guys see this, or must I zoom in? Can you give me a 1 if you can actually see the Google Plus business dashboard? Okay, brilliant. Yeah, this is really cool. What it does now is it brings your business, your reviews, your business insights, AdWords, and your Google Plus page and YouTube channel all under one control screen here. We can see we verified. We've got all the contact details, and from a local business perspective, we can actually control everything about Sassy in Google's world from the single dashboard. So this is quite nice. Joseph's asking a question here. 5 to 10 citation starts is sufficient, or more than that will cause an issue with a footprint or such? It's not that it's going to cause an issue, Joseph, sorry. There's just, you only need, like for example, if we look at the US, we've got Storyfire, Scoopit, LinkedIn directory, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and those are your basic ones there. Here's our local directories. If you scroll down, excuse me, I've got a bit of hay fever from the wind here today. So here we got here under the US, we've got Meetup, independent directory, insider pages, best of the web local, blog lines, Google local directory, Google Maps, Bot Web, Google Places, City Search, Bing Local, Yelp. All these pages, Dex Knows, Yellow Book, Yellow Pages, Super Media, all these citation directories, okay, over here, these are the ones that you can choose from to use for what you want to do. And they're strong enough, they carry enough domain authority, and they're trusted enough on the web. Plus, people trust them. So I wouldn't go looking for them. They are the main ones. Some of them you've got to pay for, others are, excuse me, others are free. Just going to have a sip of water quick. But I don't go mad. I don't go look for hundreds. I just want to basically put my business where there is existing traffic in places that people know and trust. That's typically what I'm after. Tony's asking, yeah, Matt, what if you have a branded Google Plus profile? Tony, I don't understand your question. Could you clarify that, please? Jonathan, still the best practice to set up a Google Places after all the other citations. Yes, Jonathan, typically once I've got my citations up, then I set up the Google Plus pages. But typically, it doesn't really matter if you do it in that exact order. If you do it after, it won't be a train. Typically, we try and do Google Plus's pages last. I was playing with it today. That's why I was just updating it all. Okay. Tony's saying if you don't have an address to add to Google+. Um, is that for the e-commerce store, Tony, or what are you making reference to? Citations is typically for businesses that do have addresses. If you don't have an address, you could maybe just get a fake address from the post office, or you can actually hire an address from certain places. That could work for you. I don't know if it will work for you then in Denmark where you're at, Tony. Okay, so back to the presentation. This is typically what we do with citations, and it's a simple process. We don't go mad. We cherry pick. Like in South Africa, there's maybe 4 directories that are any good, and when you're trying to find these directories, you'll see them. They'll appear on most local listings. So if you say plumber local area, you'll see those type of dominant ones appearing, and then all you want to do is get your subscription in there, set it up, link back to your money site, give it a small boost, and then that's your job done. It's not more than that. Brian's saying Google has been known to crack down on post boxes, mailboxes, stores, etc. A little dicey. Yeah, it's, you know what, it's how you do it.
Yeah, don't do that.
If you can prove that you've got a legitimate business.
Yeah, don't use that method.
It's got to be a legitimate business, guys.
Yeah, but it's, yeah, but we have a, not saying there's not ways to do it. There is. We talk about one-up certification. I'll see if Sue will allow us to speak about it in this certification.
Yeah, guys, if you've got a real business, set the business up. If you don't have a business, don't try and jump through hoops to try and get a little bit more traffic. It's just not worth the hassle. But if you've got a real business, there's major benefits, because with citations comes the semantic side of things. You can submit your business there as well. There's a lot of benefits for real businesses, and it's not as intense as trying to set up hundreds of things.
Yeah, let's
primary ones, add your directory, and then move on.
Yeah, it's an important, Matt.
What I do with this.
Matt, it's an important topic. Let me just give some feedback from the group. There is a way that you can verify address by changing the address before you confirm after you receive the postcard. That's what Jimmy does. It's remarkably simple and ironic. We can show you that one at some point. But I also want to give some comments here. Kevin McCarthy is saying to be sure to use an address from a fairly large business park, and I think that combines well with what Brian or what Joseph is saying, is that he just purchases a virtual office that's a 100% authentic address. Does cost him a monthly fee, I think 40 or 50 bucks. So there's more than one way to skin this cat, so to speak. Just want to let you guys know there is also a hack. So you're going to have to choose which way you really want to go. Personally, although Jimmy's method of changing the address at the last second after the postcard confirm works, I prefer to have a stable business address for my WR1 business. So it really depends on what and how you're trying to accomplish it. Jimmy's using it for a different purpose.
I would go with virtual office personally.
Yeah. I would say don't try the Jimmy method at home. So yeah, the virtual office is the way that I prefer to go. And again, Kevin, thank you for the feedback on that one. I agree that seems like a large business park might have an effect. Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Okay, so once we've got our citations for our business set up, then we can start moving forward to the next promotional activity. So I've given you guys the link to the promotional swap file. Can you guys basically confirm that you can actually get access to the link? Just file and save it locally to your local machine. You can download it. Just give me one if you can actually get the link. I'll put it in the chat area. Just want to make sure everyone's got access to that file. Excellent. Yeah, so with citations, guys, when you focus on the core keywords for your business, it really does give you a major boost and help. And there's not a lot of these. I don't mess around with doing all these little tricks unless it's really competitive, but the basic citation stuff works pretty well. Neil, if you look in the chat window of GoToWebinar, you'll actually see a link. It's docs.google.com, and then it points to a spreadsheet. Okay, excellent, you got it, cool. Okay, so I'm assuming everyone's got that link. So basically that's our secret promotional swap file just for you guys. That's what the link looks like. we set this up just to give you guys a nice ordered place where you can actually go and see all the major promotional places you can promote your stuff on. So page one citation domination, you increase your traffic going through local Google places, Google images, multiple Google page one rankings. You can brand stamp the page one via multiple high DA citation sites. What I mean by that is when you look at the listing, you're going to see Yelp, you're going to see Yellow Pages, you'll see some of the other local stuff for your country in there, but each of those links essentially has your business card in it, okay? And what it does is it drives the competitors off page one. So it's pushing everyone else out of the way. You're dominating most of that traffic stream. Okay. So part two, what everyone's been waiting for, is the advanced one feed to rule them all. So guys, how many of you guys have actually got a feed that you can start playing with and have got your WR1 site up? Can you give me a 1 if you have, or 2 if you haven't? Okay, everyone's up and running. Okay, Brian hasn't got his one up. Sorry, Michael. Okay, that's fine. So typically what we want is that / feed. We want that RSS feed out of our blog. Okay. Now, what I'm going to do here, guys, is I'm going to quickly just take a sneak peek for the guys who didn't do Technical Foundations Coaching Program 1. We're going to just look back at the basic diagram of the one feed system, and then from there we're going to take you through the process of showing you how we stack the different layers. And there's a few concepts I want you guys to grok when you're looking at this. Okay. So in the simple one feed, basically what we did is we took our YouTube channels feed, we took our primary blog feed, and what we did is we took those and we pushed them through Yahoo pipes, and we actually stitched them together. We blended those two feeds into one. We then took those feeds and we pushed them into OnlyWire, which then distributed it, so you can see it comes in here to OnlyWire, and it's submitted it out to 50 other networks. That's one choice you could have. You could also have Twitter feed, which took that feed from your blog and your YouTube channel and pushed it out through Twitter, Facebook, and if you're doing LinkedIn business, you could push it through there as well. What that did is it gave you traffic and backlinks back to your WR1 primary blog, because that's where the RSS feed established and started from. I'm not going to go explain what RSS means, because in week 2 we sort of covered that, and most of you guys confirmed that you are familiar with what it is. Another thing what we can do is with Snap, which is a plugin, we could push to Pinterest and to Google Plus any of our feeds that came out of there. Okay. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take that one step further. Okay. And when you think about your broadcast channels, that's your YouTube, that's your Facebook, that's your all the places that your WRS1 profiles. You can get your feeds from those. Those are your feeds. Okay. The generators that Jimmy speaks about in his diagram are essentially places that are RSS directories, and we call them generators. This is like Feedage, Feedbot, Friend Feed, okay? Then we have our aggregators, which is content distribution. And you can see how from the broadcast channel, the feed runs out to the directories, and the directories generate their own feeds, and we can take the broadcast feeds, the generator feeds, and we can push them all through the content distribution, okay, the aggregators, which broadcast them all away. Okay. Guys, can you give me a 1 if you understand those 3 parts of the process? The broadcast channel, that's where they originate from. The generators, this is what pushes them out onto the web. And then the aggregators, the ones that actually grab those feeds and then republish them again. Okay, you got that? Excellent. Right, so the next we're going to jump through is Jimmy's image. Okay, now this is a bit small, so I'm going to flip across to the actual image and zoom up so we can have a look at that, and then we can all chat about the advanced one feed. But basically, the simple version of the one feed is your WRS1 RSS feeds that come out of your promotional your properties that are your primary properties. We're taking them and we push them through Yahoo pipes, and then we use 2 services to distribute them. Now what we're going to do is we're going to stack on a few more layers onto that core structure. So what you've got set up from the guys from Tech 1, what you've got set up already is fine. We're just adding a few more components. So in Tech 1 I teach you about components. We're plugging in a few more components into the whole system to get wider reach. Okay, so I'm going to flip this screen to this image here. Okay, let's have a look at this. Guys, can you give me one if you can see that clearly, or if I need to zoom in? Two if I need to zoom in. Okay, awesome. Looks like everyone's got it. Okay, so this is great. From our WR1, we've got our broadcasting channels, we've got our blog feed, we've got our YouTube feed, we've got our Google Plus feed, we've got our Scoopit feed, we've got our Storyfire feed, our Pinterest feed, our Delicious feed, our Digit feed, and our Tumblr feed. There's a whole bunch of feeds we already have sitting there, okay? And what you can see here, what Jimmy's drawn out for us, is we take each one of these feeds and we start pushing them to generators. So example, the blog feed can now go into Feedage, Feedbot, Friend feed. We can take any of these feeds and we push them into FeedBurner, and then take the FeedBurner feed that comes out and we can push it back into our generators, Feedage, Feedbot, Friend feed. We can take Yahoo Pipes and we can mash up all these feeds and push them through Yahoo Pipes and then push that feed through Feedbot, Feedage, and Friend feed as an example. Now guys, remember generators, we've only got 3 here for the diagram, but there are a whole bunch more you can actually use. Sorry, Sue, you want to say something?
Yeah, I wouldn't actually mash up all of those feeds together in Yahoo Pipes because you're going to get the same content over and over and over again, probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Now, Sue's right there. When you're doing mashups, make sure that the content is always different when you actually. So when you take your blog feed, you can push that through these places here. That will then create new feeds that will come out, which we can then push into different places. FeedBurner, you can choose what you want to push through that, and then Yahoo Pipes, you can mash up what you want. But make sure that your content, like you said, always stays unique. So be aware of what content is getting pushed through where, okay? Because what you can see here is from these places over here, the content moves forward via the new feeds that have been created from Feedbot, Feedage, and Friend. Can you guys give me a one if you actually follow the diagram and understand what's going on here? Or if you have any questions at this point, let's just stop and look at this.
So let me give you a couple of concepts for the guys that haven't gone through the monthly course. Let me give you a couple concepts of what you can mash up with Yahoo Pipes. For example, Theme Zoom, where we talk about silo structures and things like that, we might take that feed and mash it up with a feed that comes from Bruce Clay. Or some other, you're looking for people who publish frequently and are popular, and you mash your feeds up with those. You can also mash them up with video feeds. You can mash your video feed up with other video feeds, but you can also mash your blog feed up with video feeds, or your whichever other one, your G Plus or whatever. So you can mix and mash that way. What you're looking for is folks with frequency of published, high frequency of published, and popular, because then people will be inclined to pick up those topics and just drag you along with it when they republish those feeds.
Guys, can you give me one if you're clear on that, what Sue just explained to you? Yes, Brian. You're looking for sort of unique mashups. So when you're mashing up, you're looking for like content that's popular from like experts in the field. So that's a good way to start, and then from there you can find similar videos and things that are interesting, and you can actually blend them all together. Because what you're trying to do when you're using the feeds is you're trying to have them go flow through the web, and you want as many aggregators to actually pick up on the information that you're pushing out. Or if it's a really good topic, you want to get dragged along with that topic. Okay, so when we look at the generators, guys, we just got 3 here, but there's a whole bunch that you can use that actually generate and then distribute the feeds out. So for example, when we look at this RSS directory here from Feedage, pretty simple, sign up, get in there, create your feed, and then you can also find your feeds using these functions. It's a nice little site there. Sometimes you're going to come across sites where their feeds are buried and difficult. Other times you might come across sites and they don't actually have feeds. I wouldn't get stuck and try and find absolutely every single feed. If you don't find it this time around, try and look for it again the next time you come around, but don't get stuck. Just connect the stuff and get the information flowing out of your network. Okay, so typically what happens next is once you've generated the new feeds using these content distribution, these The feeds go out, they come in. We actually capture the features. So they come in, and then from there they generate new RSS feeds, and we can push those out again. When we get to the aggregators, the content distribution type of sites, these are more like news type of sites. So here's an example of what you're dealing with. So news is for free. All they're doing is essentially you're pushing your feeds into it, and if I just go back, basically you can see all the feeds coming in, you can find sources, there's a whole bunch of stuff you can do over here. With Plazoo, it's a news blog, and you can see all what's hot, all the feeds that are coming through, they just keep on flowing up. Okay, Blog Digger, okay, this one here, you got links, you got your media, you got your stuff. Those are the typical feed places, and these guys grab these feeds from the RSS directories, and then they push their content out. Now what's good about this is when you've got your URL running through these feeds, you've got your domain authority that's actually flowing back to the original broadcasting channel. So whatever you push upstream flows back downstream via traffic and then page authority. This is what you inherit. This is the advanced setup that we have for the one feed. So do you guys have any questions? Tim's asking, can you put pinvid sites into these? Sue, Russ, what would your thoughts be on that? Sure. And Russell says, and should. Okay. Explosion. Yes, definitely. You'll use Social Explosion with this as well. Because remember, when you publish on your blog, Social Explosion is going to pick up on that broadcast, and that's going to be syndicating out to that network as well. Can you show us where to get the feedage URL from? Is feedage the one? Okay. When you submit your feed, you should get the feeds back, Kevin. I'm going to have a look into that. Is there a minimum DA for any of the money site? Is there any minimum DA for money site blog for the setup? Tony, no, there's no minimum DA required for your money site. This is to build up your DA, if I understand your question right, and your page authority. Okay. So once we've got our stuff aggregated, guys, then what we can do is we can take all the feeds that we have and we can push them through Twingly and Ping, Glare, and RS Submit. And basically that's a section aggregator where we take all the feeds that we have and we push them out again through the RSS Submit, and that pushes it through more generators, which then automatically gets picked up by aggregators. And essentially what you're doing, guys, is when you're taking that RSS feed and you're adding more properties to it, you're getting a wider reach, and the content's going out to a wider place, which means you're throwing out a wider net, and then people pick up on this content and they'll start flowing back to your actual site. So that's the basic stuff. Now, what Jimmy's got here as well is that all these properties give you page authority boosts as well. So everything that's coming back downstream towards your money site, sorry, upstream towards your money site, that's bringing the domain authority, the page authority, and it's also bringing the traffic. Okay, so this is mainly what we set up the one feed system for. Do you guys have actually any questions with regards to the setup or any technical challenges that you're facing? I know that on feedage, he's battling to find the URL. I'll go and find it out, and I'll update the channel with that, Kevin, just to see where the feed is. I'll go to see if I can find it for you guys. Neil's asking, why do we separate the generator step and the aggregator step? Neil, it's not that we're separating it. Typically, the way it works is when we broadcast, we're pushing our stuff into the generators. The aggregators typically pull feeds from the generators. They're pulling content to make their sites grow. So what we can do is we can actually go to these type of sites and we can actually give them our RSS feed as well. And what we want to do is we want to give these properties feeds, because remember with RSS, once you submit it into a site and you connect that RSS feed up, that data stream is going to constantly flow. It's not like you have to turn it on and off. It's open all the time. The pipe's always open. So that's why when we broadcast out here, as soon as that broadcast goes, all the properties that we stack and connect further downstream, that feed is going to run through all of them automatically. This is why we have to be clear on the content that we're pushing through certain channels, because once it's on and it's connected, as soon as you press the submit button on your blog, it goes zoop all the way through the web, and it propagates through all these places. So it's almost like you're throwing a stone in the pond, and you know the rings expand and it moves out and moves out and it moves out. The same thing happens when you actually do a blog post and you connected those. Does that answer your question, Neil? Can you give me a 1 if that does answer your question? Not really. Okay. They're not separate. What you're seeing is almost like a daisy chain, Neil. It's a daisy chain effect. So as we connect these properties to our WR1 and we put them into the generators, typically the generators are viewed by a lot of other directories and news propagation type of sites. They're actually watching those feeds and looking at certain channels to feed their site. So that's what I'm saying. It's not that they're separate, but we have to go and create some separate accounts to connect things up. The reason why Jimmy's put these in here is probably because they've got high domain authority. So if you look at these, for example, News is for Free has a DA of 73. Plazoo has a DA of 63. Blog Digger has a DA of 79. The RSS feed channel has a RS Micro has a DA of 51. Ubdo has a DA of 47. So as we're moving further down and we're looking at all these properties, they're all high domain authority. So when our feed runs through this, it's picking up and inheriting parts of that. Okay. Scott's asking how much is too much. Okay, Scott. I'm not too sure on your question, but if you can elaborate on that, I'll be happy to answer. Jonathan's saying, on the excerpt of your WR1 blog, I can set this to my theme. Is it worth putting in, it's in a specific URL you're looking to promote? So it shows on RSS feed, even though it's not a clickable link. Is it worth putting this in a specific URL you're looking to promote? Yeah, Jonathan, typically your feeds always come from the blog posts, unless you've got a plugin that actually gives you the pages. I'm not too clear on what you mean on the excerpt of your blog. I can set my theme. Is it worth putting the specific URL you're looking to promote? Typically with the one feed setup, Jonathan, when you write your blog post and you press submit and it starts running through the one feed setup, that URL that the post originates from is going to get carried with all the way. So when the people click on the link, it's going to bring them all the way back. I'm not sure if that answers your question there. Brian's saying that Felix is the only one in that group that you can't extract the URL from. That's what Jenny said on the call on the 24th.
That's correct.
Lionel's asking, can we do the advanced one feed on a brand new site? Yes, you can. It's not going to damage your site because it's all the promotions come from your actual blog or your YouTube channel, whatever you've connected. Brian has... Neil's saying, yeah, yes, Neil, you are. When you go into Feedage, you're actually giving them your RSS feed. That's why it's blog feed. You're giving them the blog feed. If you're using FeedBurner, you're passing FeedBurner's feed to Feedage. That's the property that's before you're passing that feed on. Does that clarify what you're saying there? Okay. Can you have too many feeds? So too much pointing back to your site too soon, so it does not appear natural. Scott, I think you'll have to do a lot of connecting up to make that happen. I think they're asking about getting the URL up in the blog post so it's explicit. Okay. Kevin's got a question here. Do we need to be careful with the anchor text in the excerpt from feed of optimization link percentage? Sue, what do you think about that question, eh?
Typically, the part in a feed that links back to the site is the title, and so it's not going to be a problem.
We have mentioned previously that you should have obviously your blog RSS settings to not be full. You guys got that right?
But even if it is full, it shouldn't actually link back to the site because the hyperlinks aren't going to be carried over in the text of the RSS feed. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I prefer to put out the just the excerpt because then, or the synopsis, because then you get a reason for people to click back to your site rather than reading all your content on the on wherever it's published or republished.
It's interesting but incomplete.
Yes.
Yeah, guys, typically when you add your feeds to FeedEdge, they're going to ask you for your title, the URL that they must go to, and a description. And maybe they might ask you for one or two keywords, and then that's when you press submit, and that's what connects it up. So there will be forms that you actually fill in where they ask you for specific components, and then, like Sue says, they connect a lot of them connect the title back. So it's whatever you add as your title.
One of the questions is, do you still recommend Samson as an RSS or backlinking tool? The answer to that is yes, definitely. With our improved list created by Sue, Jimmy, I think Matt, I'm not sure, and then enhanced. Since then, we are constantly updating those backlinks. That's a little bit of a different concept than we're showing here, but it is still a powerful tool. We are, as of 3 days ago, Sue has informed me that we are replacing it, that plugin, with something else. We will let you know. We will let you know when that plugin is live. I can only tell you that I walked around in a daze, bumping into the walls of my office for about 30 minutes after that conversation, and then sat back down. But yes, Samson still works. Until then, we have something called the One-Feed Supercharger coming out that will have a variety of the functions in here that you're learning today. This is why you guys must be trained, so you're going to be the first to use it. Samson, just so you guys know, Samson actually creates what I'm now calling virtual backlinks. Virtual backlinks means they're using Alexa-type services or websites with high domain authority that when you ping them, they will insert a URL via a PHP script and give you a little page on their site, a little zero-page authority page on your site. Okay, and then what that does is that adds up, and then it turns it into an RSS feed itself. So you've got an RSS feed not of your site, but of pages linking to your site on government sites or Alexa sites or virtual backlink sites. Even Forbes.com has a place where you can actually get a backlink buried in the site. I mean, it's a whole nother level. Okay. Bottom line is that Samson does have feeds, and since we have RSS feeds as a discussion, it kind of got blended into the one feed system. I think if I were to go back into time, I would probably put Samson more in the backlinking and virtual backlink, but it is very useful to use and still working. The replacement we have for it will be a little more stable. One of the things I don't like about the Samson plugin is when you're updating, occasionally it does fail, and you've got to go in there and turn the plugin back on when it updates. Just these types of things that we will fix in the what Sue is calling the One-Feed Supercharger update. It'll have all that in there, okay? So yes is the answer. That's a long way around.
Okay. Right. Scott's asking, can you please explain how the actual dissemination of the content works via RSS? Does it get pinged once a day, a week, etc.? I set up an RSS feed for Rebel Mouse. It sucked the data right off the bat. However, no new data has appeared despite new content being placed on the source of the blog.
Scott,
have you actually gone and checked? Sorry, carry on, Ross?
No. Go ahead and say what you're going to say first, and then I'll...
I was going to say this, Scott, if you put that raw RSS feed out of your blog, can you actually see the content in the actual feed through your browser? That's where I'll start to troubleshoot that, and then I'll start working my way back. It could be a setting in Rebel Mouse or something like that that's not picking up the latest feeds.
Yeah,
It sounds like it's essentially just gone and passed your site and then grabbed what was existing, not what's new.
yeah, and I will also say that it depends on the service that you're using and how they set up. You know, again, I don't know much about Rebel Mouse, you know, so that's not one that I've spent a lot of time with. But there's certain things, like for example, Google FeedBurner uses to make sure that it gets, if you don't have it set to that, then you're kind of at the whim for when they ping you. I think it's called ping shot. All right, so Scott, for example, FeedBurner has something that they themselves created called ping shot, so that if you have it set, it's going to be pinging and checking that feed several times a day to determine whether it's been updated or not, right? And some services like have really crappy, like they just don't, I don't know, Sue, you're more advanced at this, but I don't know what they call it, but you know, FeedBurner has a really advanced system for, like, if you select ping shot, it'll check every time. In other words, it's guaranteed when your feed spits out another URL to update via FeedBurner if you have ping shot selected. So these technologies depend upon the host, depend upon the aggregator, and it's a great question, Scott, because I struggled with this in the early days. Is why the hell is this service not like updating my feed? And it's mostly because, well, they kind of suck. So what you got to do with that is you have to take responsibility on your end to make sure that things are active. I mean, by the way, just as a side note, you guys, this is what Pub Sub was supposed to solve, the new technology that was supposed to replace RSS that Google then purchased, and then who knows, right? But this is the idea. So just make sure that you have that update. There's similar issues with sitemaps, you know, which are also XML. You have to know how to set it up and how to get the active ping happening. Okay. Well, that also, Matt, Jonathan asked again, in WordPress you can add services as standard it has, right? Yes, I personally, this is a little bit controversial, so I'm hedging my bet here because I'm more than happy to be wrong. You can add all kinds of RPC services. In fact, WordPress hands the ones to you. I noticed that they had one on there that was actually dead, still listed. But there are actually even a lot more RPC services than even WordPress recommends. Now, the controversy out there, which Sue or Matt can weigh in on, and because I'm not an RSS expert, I probably should be, but I'm actually not, because I'm a marketer, damn it, Jim. But the main thing is that there was a controversy about whether too much pinging, like a lot of internet marketers out there where like can you over ping, and I think Sue talked to me about it. I can't remember what you said, Sue, if you're still here. Can you over ping if you have too many RPC services? I think it was mostly a myth created by the internet marketers, but I'm not really sure if you can overdo it. I've never had any problem with over pinging and, you know, getting too much of a ping from the other service. I mean, all that's happening is you're just telling the services. What can happen is you can submit via RSS submit. Any of you have RSS submit here? Give me a 1 if you have RSS submit as a desktop application, and 2 if you do not. One thing that can become a little bit weird is when you manually submit your one feed or your master one feed to the various RSS aggregators. If you do it too many times with the same profile, they might, you know, ban you.
Yeah, that's what the ping is. The actual service is going to hit too many times for the same thing.
Yeah, and they're just, you know, they're probably detecting the duplicate content, or if you try to stuff, you know, the same feed 200 times from the same profile. Getting separate profiles is okay because then you're supposed to be a different person. So yeah, Brian hasn't got, RSS submit is really cool. Don't get the upgrade. Sue and I played around for a few days with the upgrade where it's like ended up being like a link swap service or something really stupid and retarded. So there's like a $50 upgrade. It was like Robin Goods 50 RSS.
Yeah, it was a lot more work than it was worth.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we tried that
You have to submit to the other ones by hand.
Yeah, we tried that
rather than automated, and so that
right.
wasn't really worth it.
Right. Sue and I played with it at the kitchen table for all of like 5 minutes, and then we went and got coffee and turned it off and asked for a refund. You know, so there's that. But the general service feels really good, and once in a while you do need an email account. Again, I got to recommend getting a unique profile for each market, or at least if you're just do it once. Like put all your RSS feeds in there at once. Like put the whole one feed list in there, and then click submit to all those services via one profile, and then you'll be fine. Even if you did that a couple times a month, I've never had any trouble. But like, don't be stuffing them every day. Like, more is not better when you're putting the same RSS feeds.
The thing about RSS, guys, is once it's connected, and it's just the pinging that actually either checks and creates more content, or if the service has an automated solution, it'll actually just ping. But every time it's pinged, if there's new content, it'll pull it down. And so it's something that you don't have to keep on setting up over and over again, unless it's for different projects.
The main thing to realize with that whole ping question, which I thought was a really great question, updated content, is like RSS overall is really super, super inefficient. I mean, it's this whole process where I got to talk to you, you got to talk to me, and like, both machines on both sides have to be proactive. And these services, when they're trying to update a lot of feeds, it takes quite a bit of. I've learned stuff from Sue and Matt over the last few years. Like, when you're looking at servers, if you're running a big, I really wouldn't want to be an RSS service. I mean, like, just looking at the machines, like, they would have to be constantly updated, and there's like nobody cares about them, and they don't make any money except on monetization ads. So you got to remember, and Joseph is saying RSS is pretty old, Adam, and all that stuff. Well, it's just keep in mind, try to think of things. I guess the lesson here, guys, is start thinking like hardcore server-side technologists when you're using these services. Yes, we're building domain authority. Yes, we're building. We are showing you ridiculous power. Just keep in mind what's happening on the side of the servers, and when things aren't working properly, a lot of the times it's just because they either A, don't know what they're doing, or they don't have a technology to update. And so take every measure that you can on your side to force the thread, force the feed, ping them, and the multiple RFPC services are fine, but the main issue is making sure your broadcast gets out at least once to all the distributed domain authority sites.
Yeah. Yeah, if there's issues, start at the feed, check if it is there, then move forward through each stack. So if it's not, the problem's not at your blog's creating your feed, your content's there, then look at feedage, feedbyte, friendbed. Just go block by block if you're actually doing a troubleshoot, and you might find where it's actually jamming up, and you can fix it or you can actually remove it. But the whole point is, when we broadcast, we want all these services to actually push a message out across the web. And we set them up, connect them, and then we come back and review them every now and then to make sure they're all working nicely.
I also wanted to say that was a great answer by Joseph Hannon. Joseph, I didn't notice that you were here. And I forgot to announce also that you're a veteran certified advisor. Thanks for being here. I guess you must have showed up right after.
Kevin's saying, would you use the category feed to separate them out? Kevin, typically, when we set up the one feed, you're not using that. It's actually the feeds coming from the blog /feed. You could probably use the category feed, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's a good question.
If you have diverse topics on your silo structure, then absolutely split it out by category.
I mean, that's actually interesting, Kevin. We haven't got much into, there's like some evilness underneath the evilness that if we put on this map, the whole thing would just kind of melt. So we wouldn't want to put that on there. But just, you guys, remember, what makes us different is that we're always saying we want you to understand the principles and not be stuck in a pattern. We've paid a price for that in the marketplace. There's people that think we're too complicated. But once you understand the principles, you'll be able to make these choices. For instance, maybe you guys don't know this, not in all themes. Some themes block this, but did you know that you can create an RSS by keyword even in the current version of WordPress? Like, you can pull you could pull everything on your blog with the keyword, for instance, your theme plus LSI keyword or LSI keyword, and only pull those themes. We didn't want to get into that because we didn't want everybody's head to explode. But the thing is that it's really easy to do. It's just RSS. It's a certain function call on WordPress, and you can do categories. There's so many. There's even comments feeds, which I played around with. I would stay away from that right now until Sue looks more at it. But the point is that think it through within the principles of what Matt's showing you today. And yeah, I think Kevin McCarthy is trying to point out also by search. Yes, you can do the search for it. Yeah. So there's a lot of, probably what I'll do is I'll list there's a tag feed. Yes, Bradley. Bradley Benner is also here, certified veteran. Yes, there's a tag feed. Maybe I guess, Sue, do you think it's appropriate in this month to list all the WordPress feed functions, or is that too much? Do we
No, that
confuse?
would be fun.
Okay, that's pretty
Let's
evil.
do that.
Yeah, well, Kevin McCarthy's like being really evil these days, and you got to watch out for him. But it's a pretty good.
It's always the quiet ones.
It's the quiet ones. You just never know. They have all bite and no bark. Yeah. So what we could do, what I'll do is I'll pull all those RSS functions out for you guys so you can play with them. But just if you have questions, hit the Skype ring, because there are ways you could actually screw it up. Like Brian Hassler was commenting early on in this post, is like, all right, well, if you're trying to diversify your title, you actually could use you could actually parse your site for LSI keywords and use Jimmy Kelley's LSI backlink if you thought it through, but stuff's a little bit above my head. Anyway, the point is that it's there, and we can come up with some methods. If you guys really want to go there, we can come up with some methods that would add that.
So there's one more comment that Joseph asked, which was if you can do something with Google Alerts. And yes, Google Alerts will give you the results in either an email or an RSS feed. And,
you guys are naughty. Sorry, guys, there's a private chat conversation going on which we could not read.
You can do all kinds of evil stuff with those feeds in terms of you can run them through Yahoo pipes and do all kinds of crazy stuff. So yeah.
Hey Sue, that does bring me up with that conversation we had this time about pulling LSI keywords from the feed. That we might want to expand on that. It's kind of a fun conversation. Some other time.
You can do that in Yahoo pipes. Actually, you can filter for a keyword in Yahoo pipes. So you can get really advanced with the Yahoo pipes, right? You can take 2 or 3 other people's feeds, you can pull them together into a single feed, and you can filter that feed by the keywords that you're looking for, and then you can take the output of that, you can mesh it with your feed, and then send that out to all of these places on this screen.
Totally. There's a bunch of different ways to skin the cat, for sure.
Yeah. What's great about this, guys, is when you look at this and you actually break it down into its components, we've got the broadcasting, we then got the generators, and then we've got the aggregators. And if you just put each thing in its block, you can see how the stacks are connected. And then that's how we push the feed all the way through. Then we start playing with the feeds. Like Sue and Russ has been telling us, we can do some really creative stuff, and we can redirect different traffic, different content streams through these channels.
Yeah, great. This is really a great map. I love it.
It's compliments of Mr. Kelley.
Yep.
Jimmy
couldn't be with us. Jimmy couldn't be with us this morning, but as you can see, he's been hard at work, blowing up the universe.
Actually, he's lurking. He is lurking.
Oh, you've got him chained. You got him chained in the basement.
There was more complicated things Jimmy wanted to throw in, but I thought, well, let's just let the guys consume this first before we add more spiders to the web.
Yeah. So, guys, looking at this map just at a glance, Kevin's like, Kevin McCarthy, are you on some kind of new nootropic of some kind? Are you doing some brain boosting? Starting to scare me. Okay. So how many of you guys looking at this new chart feel like you could definitely go through the step by step? In other words, this is with some practice and some focus, this is something that you can get your head around. Give me a 1 if you, yeah. Okay, lots of 1s coming down the screen. All right, good. Our effort is to make sure that you understand the first steps, and then we can stack. We can domain authority stack our domain authority stack for real. Like, that is a real thing. We'll get into that. But, starting simply and understanding the basic principles makes it a stackable system like Matt's showing you here. It's pretty exciting stuff. Now, how many of you think that how many of you think that you could easily calculate the domain authority, the aggregate domain authority of all this cluster in 1 minute and 30 seconds or less?
It depends on how many iterations.
Oh, all of them. 40. Joseph Hannon says 42.
Exactly.
Joseph, you got the right answer. It's a domain authority of 42. Oh. Sorry for interrupting, Matt. Go ahead.
No. What I wanted to just highlight was this, as well as Guys, every time you use the generator creates a new URL. So if we look at, for the guys who've done the DA stacking, from the broadcast we've collected RSS feeds and URLs. From the generators we're getting RSS feeds and URLs. From these places we're getting RSS feeds and URLs. So for the DA guys, and the guys doing all the other stuff, that's quite creative.
Yeah, and just
you have those media assets that you can actually utilize as well.
Yeah, and Matt, I don't think I was able to talk to you about this yet. I'm just going to say this here because, Sue, is Kevin, is the other Kevin on the phone call? There's so many Kevins now that I get mixed up. Is Kevin Polly on this call?
No, he's not.
Oh, good. Just because he would be trying to punch me right now. All right, you guys, I'm not supposed to say anything about this, but I just can't help myself. Imagine, because you guys are going to be the first to know this, you're like certified. Imagine all of these feeds that you're creating and the different combinations and the different backlinkings being able to be, like Sue says, WR3, or even Kevin was arguing yesterday, even WR2 network. Okay? But also, can you guys hear me? Hello? Am I back now?
I find it really funny that Kevin is so powerful that he has clearly blocked your ability to be able to actually say this.
Kevin spoofed your line.
Yeah, he'll turn off my server. Yeah, he'll turn off my server. There'll be an FBI warning on my internet service provider the next day. Can you guys hear me? Is the delay?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay, I hope it is here. Sorry guys, I really don't know what this is. It's probably all Matt's fault because his South Africa thing like drags the whole line down. Just kidding, Matt.
No, it's not me, it's your virus.
All right, you guys. What I'm trying to tell you is, yeah, it is kind of, maybe I'm not supposed to tell you. If I was superstitious, I'd believe that, which I'm not. Okay, imagine websites being built from your RSS feeds upstream, which is really what we teach in WR2 and WR3, which we'll be getting into. But imagine that the snippets and the curated content on the sites that you own were all semantically marked up. Yes, there is a function for that, and yes, we have cracked it, or more like Kevin has cracked it. We know how to do it. I just want to give you a heads up where we're actually going, because as you know, that markup means higher rankings with other people's content. It was almost too good to be true for me when, you know, I thought that would be against the rules or something, but what Kevin informed me yesterday is that all of the editor documented, in other words, there is a way to take curated or borrowed content, even if it's auto snippets, and mark them up semantically. And this is so huge that we were going to just keep it like maybe certified, you know, certification event or whatever. But at this point, I think because markup is so useful to everyone, to me it seems like an excellent concept to be discussing. I just want you to know that that's coming and where our minds are at and how we think about things in the universe. And so I'm pretty excited about that.
All right, I want to get a feel for where we're at. If you guys feel like you learned some significant stuff on today's webinar, would you give me a 1? And if you feel like it was a rehash of stuff you've already heard, give me a 2.
Okay.
Okay.
So almost for everybody it was new.
Yeah.
Except for Brian Hassler. Oh, did I say that out loud?
He's just too clever.
Brian, you're just too. Let me ask. Hey, Brian, could you also could you ping me on where you had actually heard this particular stuff before? Because I'm actually at a loss. Was it on domain authority stacking? Did you take the domain authority stacking course, or was it? If you could.
Schema stuff. Okay.
So Brian feels like it was in the domain authority stacking course.
All right.
But isn't this a new chart?
No.
No, it's, oh, that's from the DAS course?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
Well, yeah, then it is rehashed.
So let me see if we can get. So Jimmy had some advanced ideas. How many of you guys are good with what you've heard and you feel like you can take the next level? If we can get Jimmy to come on for a few minutes.
Brian's like, yeah, okay. Now Brian's excited.
All right. Jimmy, are you there? Can you give us a few minutes? You got your 2-year-old down?
Yeah, I'm here, Sue.
You guys might have to put up with Jimmy's
Yeah,
kids, though.
trying to keep him gagged.
So you had mentioned to Matt that you had some advanced ideas about this image. Do you want to go into any of that?
And also, Sue, before Jimmy starts, we never did cover the rank-wise stuff we promised, so that's also on our list to be covered.
Okay.
Last week we never got to it, or week 2, right, Jimmy?
Yeah.
Week 2, yeah.
So I've been off and on as much as I could during this, so I don't know exactly what you guys covered on it, but you guys understand that you can, with Yahoo Pipes, I typically will go out and start mashing it with other, not necessarily a competitor, but other authority sources out there that also have an RSS feed for the Yahoo Pipes. I also make sure that, once you get the FeedByte URL, you can do the same thing. You can put the FeedByte into FeedBurner, and you can take the FeedByte and put it into Yahoo Pipes. So there's a lot of mixing and matching that you can do, even with the other URLs that you get. You can also do this with, you can also take these feeds and put them into RankWiz. We didn't get a chance to cover that last time. I think we're going to do a short video on this for the Tech Foundation 2 members. Or I don't know if we're just going to schedule an extra class to just kind of walk them through it. But you can get a lot of outreach that way and a lot of extra juice going back to these properties that you're creating. So that's typically how I use them. But I don't know if that's what you guys are referring to.
Matt, is that what you were talking about?
Yeah, was this the stitching? The stitching of using FeedBar, pushing it back into FeedBurner, then taking FeedBurner, pushing into Yahoo Pipes. It's the stitching of the RSS feeds that's come out here. You can actually weave them, almost like the iframe punch that we spoke about last week. You can actually weave these other additional feeds through, create new RSS feeds, and push that out. That's basically what I was referring to.
And there's a lot of other properties out there as well that you can put your content into and pull a feed from, and you can use the same method for promotions on that. So, like, even though you have the blog feed right there, I mean, the individual process that you do, so like you could take your YouTube feed and, your Google Plus feed and your Scoop It feed, and you can put them through, all the generators. And once you take the generators, you didn't have that whole set of URLs. So like in that list, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We have 9 for the example in the broadcasting channels. So you can at least generate 2 additional URLs from the examples that we gave you. So that would be 18 feeds, new feeds that you could make. So, so you would have all of your regular ones and then an additional 18 new feeds from the generators. You can then take all of those and put them through FeedBurner, and you can also take all of those and put them through Pipes. Pipes is usually, what we were talking about is where we start weaving in other authority blogs. So you might find an RSS feed from like Google News, or you can use, where some of the other ones, some other properties out there that you can put your content on. You can pull those feeds from as well and start mixing and matching all of these feeds together. But you can see, like, once you have those unique URLs and you put it through FeedBurner, then you have another set of, it kind of keeps compounding as you keep going down through FeedBurner, then again through Yahoo Pipes. And all at the same time, this is just generating, this is stacking DA automatically for you, basically. So the other thing I like to do is just go in and start, do some domain authority stacking to some of your, to some of these other properties, or better yet, Social Explosion here pretty soon will have the ability to take an RSS feed specifically. So you'll be able to take all of these feeds that you're putting and put it through Social Explosion. So, and then you're going to get all the social signals that go along with it. Does that make sense?
That is where it
Yeah,
gets
that's right.
I don't know if you guys, I don't know if you guys know this, that we give you domain authority with a Google Plus RSS feed. I don't know if we want to get into that at all, Sue. I'm just tossing some stuff out there.
Sure.
Does anybody in here know that we have a software that's turns Google Plus feeds into RSS feeds? It's actually part of the Network Empire arsenal. Give me a 1 if you knew that and a 2 if you did not. Anybody using it? Give me a 1 if you're using it and a 2 if you're not. I'm going to go ahead and drop the link here just in case, you know, if you're part of the Network Empire main area, you're going to have at least one of those, access to one of those. The reason I bring it up is because I just want to make sure that you're using, you know, we're actually currently growing the domain authority for that subdomain as per Jimmy. So that is a pretty powerful, sending that to everybody. That's pretty useful because the platform itself has domain authority, right? You guys get that, obviously. Brian, is that new for you, or you already knew that? I'm watching Brian Hassler really closely because he has already seen all of this before. I'm just teasing you, man. Okay, cool. Brian, you got to get used to it, man. You got to get used to us. This is the way that we roll. Never coming back. Yes, you are. You're coming to certification. We're going to get you a babysitter for your kids. Okay, so the reason I bring it up is because the subdomain, which is G++ or G+, is currently a domain authority of, I did an interview with Jimmy on that site that I just sent you. It's RSS feed domain authority over 30. At the time that we did it, we had a domain authority of 35 on that subdomain. And Jimmy and I are working to boost it over the next few months to much higher than that. The way that's useful to you is all of your RSS feeds that go through Google Plus get massive domain authority boost, so you're like boosting the boost. You got a domain authority of 100 with any of the Google platforms. And we're still experimenting. I want you guys to know that this is not the end-all and be-all. We're still experimenting with the things that you do because we're working with peer principles here. There's things that I discover quite on accident, and Google Plus is one of my favorite mediums to do that. Currently, I post to my Google Plus biz pages. There is no software or plugin in the world that currently publishes your Google Plus personal. There's 2. They all failed. We will probably be adding that to Social Explosion. The reason we've not added that is because it's very, very, very difficult, extra difficult, like above normal difficulty to get in there. I think Sue will figure out a way to do it. But that will, if anybody did it, would be us, part of Google Plus. But the Google Biz page posting, pretty easy through Hootsuite. I know Kevin McCarthy uses IFTT, if this then that. Kevin uses, and he just changed his mind again, he uses Snap. Okay. Snap has been going back and forth, and I found the Snap plugin to be a little bit uncertain. Sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't. Kevin, if you're saying it works now, that's awesome. Point here is that once you can automate the publishing to any number of Google Plus biz pages. And I'm currently doing that. Several of the pages that I was posting via Hootsuite have been publishing without interruption for over 1 year. And that's kind of what you want, right? So when I take those RSS feeds out of those Google Plus and add them to the mix, what Jimmy and Matt are just showing you here, you get a real kick from that as well. So one of the things that I would like to do would be to invite you guys to come up with something. One of the things I'd like to add to the homework assignment this week, I know it hasn't been given out, Matt, sorry, the homework assignment. Is it okay? Is it okay if I add something to the homework assignment for this week?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, this is not my module.
No, go ahead. It's fine.
Extra credit. Can you guys each come up with some method of RSS feed stacking that we have not seen on here? You don't have to finish it in 1 week, but let us know. If you find a new method, for example, when Jimmy was showing me, I mean, how many of you, just be honest, like super honest, how many of you even considered that we're already giving you domain authority of actually 38 right now with the Google Plus RSS maker? Give me a 1 if you really had already thought about that, and 2 if you had no idea. Yeah, there you go. So 2's all the way down. Okay, it looks like we got some 1s, not very many. Certified advisors sort of know that. So that's what I'm really trying to make you aware of, is go through this module and start thinking what's already being given in the real world, what's already there for you. and come up with ways, don't think that we've thought of every single way in the universe to stack domain authority automatically with RSS feed. Every time I see Jimmy, we talk about 5 more ways, right, Jimmy? So that's one of the things I want you guys to.
Yeah, it's true. We're always coming up.
Yeah. Yeah. Always coming up with new ideas. So again, let's make sure that we have gone quite a bit deeper into this here. Although the general principles are here, we haven't quite gone into it this deep where all the pivot points of domain authority is there. Go ahead and start looking when you discover a new feed. We had somebody bring to the domain authority stacking a couple of new locations where feeds could be gained, generated. And I guess we're not supposed to talk about GSA anymore or something, right, Sue? So, did you guys notice, by the way, that GSA is not on this chart anywhere? That is because we were forced to remove it at gunpoint. We were actually forced. Sue actually forced us to remove all mention of GSA from any of our basic level.
Hey, since this is a small group, I want to take a poll. How many people here, give me a 1 if you think that the stuff that Jimmy does is black hat, and a 2 if you think all SEO is black hat.
Wow.
I guess that's part of the reason why there's a bit of a lull in this conversation is the essential explosive ingredient is not on this chart. No, just kidding.
No. Right? Get over that. Exactly.
All SEO is black hat. Anytime you're trying to build a link on your own that you didn't get, it is against Google's terms of service.
Yes, exactly. So, I mean, when you have somebody I remember I was hanging out with Rand. You guys know who Rand Fiskin is as Moz? I was hanging out with Rand at SEO conferences as early as 2005 and 6, and I got to tell you, back in the day, Rand was like Mr. Good. He was known at the conferences as being Mr. Goody Two Shoes. Like he was sitting next to when I sat next to Matt Cutts in the various link building conferences. Like I got to see physically. I was sitting at the table with Matt Cutts from Google and John, what's his name, of TextLink Brokers. And literally the anger and hostility in the air was palpable. I mean, it's way different when you're actually sitting there with the organizations themselves and seeing like what's actually going on. And it was kind of funny to see, literally, TextLink Brokers was a panelist speaker at the conference, and Matt Cutts literally was sitting on the other side of the table. Like, it's hilarious. And the arguments really were like the one that we just had right there. I mean, TextLink's broker is still around, right, guys? But the reason I bring this up about Rand is like back in the day, Rand was Mr. White Hat. I mean, he's an amazing guy. I mean, he started a great company. It's lasted all these years and it's grown. But, you look at his Whiteboard Friday yesterday, and he's saying basically that Google is not, don't be evil except when you want to be. I mean, I've watched a lot of really hardcore white hat SEOs over the last decade just finally say, pardon my French, but screw it. It's like, it's not about white hat or black hat. If Google is going to change things based on what is appropriate for their bottom line, well then, people in the service business and the tech business, we have to be aware of that. But this PR campaign about what is against terms of service, when they can change their terms of service in the middle of it, to me, that affords a standard. We have to create the standards then as basically broadcast environments. Now, what we're doing with the whole broadcast network environment is we're taking all of that and transcending just merely SEO. I think the pitfall is just thinking in terms of search only. The whole idea of, what's that?
I was going to say, the only thing I care about is rankings.
Yeah. Yeah, and what makes us a strong team is I don't really care about rankings. As the marketer and broadcaster, I care about your video broadcasting. Like, that's why last week I did the stuff on memes and the rest, right? Because I know my team has my back on the rankings. I'm about traffic and attraction and click magnet. So you put all that stuff together, and you've got a unique standard that we have to create. And so I guess, Sue, when we were talking about backlinking software like GSA or these other things, which is not something our company has ever gotten into before, which is essentially, automated backlinks, which, can be used any way that somebody does. Usually a beginner uses it wrong, and then we end up cleaning up the mess, or they end up cleaning up the mess. So I can really understand that, these types of things are what shall we say? Probably stuff should be talked about behind closed doors.
Exactly.
You know, but these are closed doors, right?
Well, no, it's the live event. It's the closed door.
Okay.
So what we want to do is give you guys everything that you actually need to be able to rank niche to medium level markets. And if you're really into market domination, then certification is definitely something that you're going to want to attend. And that's where we do take a few of the different pieces like GSA and show you how everything all fits together.
Can you guys just, this is all new. Sue has just laid down the law here in the last few days about this. Let me ask you guys, how many in this room, I'm not going to, I promise, I swear I will not use your name publicly, Brian Hessler. Give me a 1 if, give me a 1 if you have, give me a 1 if you have a GSA server, and 2 if you don't even know what GSA is or you do not. Holy crap.
8 servers.
I'm sorry, but that's hilarious. I did not expect anywhere near that amount. Alrighty then. Well, I guess we know the kind of people that take our certification courses.
Definitely.
Holy crap. All right. Well, thank you for letting me know. All right, Steve Melton is being very hilarious. Okay, so, oh, that's fantastic. Kev, yeah, all right. I promise not to use any names. Great. Some of you are actually doing quite well with that. So.
Okay, excellent.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys want to add, Sue and Russ, Jimmy?
No, I think I'm good.
Let me just say this.
Yeah, so
Let me just say this last thing, Matt, as a closing thing to the whole
Sure.
new GSA policy. Jimmy, are you here still?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Could you
Yeah.
just give us a summarizing general statement? You know, seeing as how the GSA stuff has left the building for a moment on this particular chart. The general, when it comes to stacking with that type of tool, generally speaking, anything with a high domain authority that's past what you said 35 and is not pointing to your regular site, that would be something that they could at least consider using that tool with, and if they have any questions they can come privately, right, to the GSAsoftware.com course.
They have to be careful, though. I mean, I believe Google's really looking at tier 2 type links right now.
Okay, that's
and
what I was asking.
It would be wise to, you know, if you haven't taken the GSA course or if you have questions about when you use what, you know, I recommend going and taking that course, or if they've already taken it and they know it or they're familiar with the tool, just send a help desk ticket in and we'll try to answer.
Got it. Thanks, Jimmy. And guys, the reason I'm hanging on to this, I know Sue would probably want me to move past it. The reason I'm hanging onto this is I just want you guys to know about that. That's why launching the GSAsoftware.com course was an experiment. Sue wasn't sure that she wanted to do it. I wasn't sure. Matt wasn't sure. And what we've discovered is that most people do not have the certification technical background to match without hands-on training with Sue, Jimmy, Matt, you know, like physically there to make sure that people don't blow themselves up, right? There's too many variables and too much going on for that not to be a training course. So that's really what I wanted to get you guys to know. And also another thing before we go, Sue, and Jimmy, we were talking about the FCS course. I've had a few requests privately on Skype. Sue, do you want us? Are we going to be doing an independent video or just like a webinar with just you, myself, and Jimmy and Matt or whatever in the team, or how do you want to address the FCS stuff?
Well,
It isn't FCS.
I don't do FCS. I just use RankWiz.
No, I'm sorry.
So.
I did not mean I meant RankWiz. I apologize.
I was thinking maybe we could do a rank quiz maybe on the 30th.
On the 30th?
of September.
Can you guys give
We've
me?
got a fair number of the group here. In fact, I think we've got almost the whole group here. Would you guys be open for a Webby on the 30th? It's a Tuesday.
Can we do an
Give me one.
inserted webinar? Okay. All right, that's a yes for
Straight shots.
virtually everybody.
Cool. Does that day work for you, Jimmy? I think it does.
Yeah, it should. I don't think I have anything going on that day, Tuesday. Yeah, it should be fine.
Okay.
Well, we have the consult still going.
I don't think
Can we
anybody's
push it to the
scheduled.
Wednesday?
No, the Wednesday we got this Tech 2 Webby again.
Oh, okay.
And the following Tuesday we've got the members Webby. So I think if maybe we just blank out those times on that Tuesday.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will add them to the certification level 2 calendar. Sue, I'll talk to you first.
Okay.
I'll add it to the public calendar.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry, Jonathan, what software? He's asking what's the URL for, what software do you mean?
For RankWiz?
Oh, you want to know about RankWiz before we have that exposure?
Yeah.
Okay, yes he does. All right, I'll drop the link for you here. Okay, and this is a third-party software. We're not telling you you have to have it, but you're going to learn some pretty amazing things from the guys here. All right. I'm going to go ahead and drop this to the entire audience. One more and last question to all of you folks before we start to wrap up. How many of you would utilize or pay $500 for a setup for this if we created it done for you? In other words, or pass that on to your clients. Do you feel that $500 for a basic one feed or advanced one feed is too much? I'm getting a general price point. Give me a 1 if you think that's too much, and 2 if it's, I'm not trying to sell this to you, we haven't created it. I'm actually talking about possibly even using a few of you to provide this. I'm looking at this as a service. Is $500 too much or not enough if you were selling it as well for your own agency? So no, yeah, so a few of you are saying you would have a interesting. Some of you are saying that price is a sticking point. Others are saying it's not enough. Like you would pay more than that. I agree. I would pay more than that as well. Okay, that gives me a general idea.
You know, I think it depends on how intricate you get, because we talked about a lot of things. So this is a pretty basic map, but then we elaborated as we talked about it, and eventually got into some pretty intricate setups. So I think it would depend on what level you took that price point at.
Right, because we've been providing the super basic one feed, right, Sue? I mean,
basic and advanced.
Yeah, we provide the basic and advanced model. And we're just looking at the price points as well. I mean, we have a lot of, part of it was for us is that a lot of our students wanted to resell it. And we have enough of our, we have to determine scale and all that. And Brian is saying that price is fine, but you want to hear about content submissions from client. What do you mean by that? What does he mean by that, do you think?
Well, it all starts with your blog, right? Like, you got to post on your blog. That's what drives everything.
Yes,
like, that's really what drives everything through our entire network is the postings on the blogs. So the best is if you can get your clients to actually submit it, because then they can obviously tie it to their products and sell them better.
Yes, absolutely.
But you can also get like newsy type. You can curate on your own blog too, and you can get outsourcers to do that. But
to get them
it's
to
not going to be as effective.
You can just tell them if they don't publish on a daily basis, you're going to walk through their office. You're going to show up unannounced with a camera and just start shooting stuff. And you're just going to video.
I have never done that.
It works for me. Oh, Brian's like, I already do that. I know. Okay, yeah. If you guys don't come up with content, I will. And you're not going to like it. I'm going to videotape your bathroom at the office. I'm going to walk through the kitchen while your staff members are all.
Bad hair days.
Yeah. I'm going to wear my Google glasses, and you never know when they're going to be on. And I'm just going to instantly publish to your blog and just push that content downstream, and you're not going to like it.
Hey, Hangouts, that's where the rankings are easiest.
Yeah. Another thing is obviously transcriptions. But anyway, we cover broadcasting and information casting, in a lot of our other courses. So, all right. Well, I'm personally done. You guys, I'm going to step out of the way. Thanks for that feedback, you guys. This has been a really good one. Matt, you want to wrap it up?
Yeah. Well, basically the homework is what Russell's saying. I was going to say to you guys, I'd like to see some more creative ideas for the one feeds for this, and then also for the citations. Do some different map-ups based on the one that I did there for you guys, because those are the two traffic streams we sort of discussed today, was through promoting upstream and then through local, if you're doing local businesses, getting those local sites ranking and dominating the front pages. So
yeah,
that's roughly what the guys have to get worked on.
Yeah, I want to see your one feed setup by next Tuesday. I want to see this setup. Got it? Give me a one if you guys understand.
Do you want them on the site, or do you want them on an
This will
image,
help
Russ?
your.
Yeah, I want them to frickin' set this up and like drive domain authority and traffic.
This will give you guys a boost in the SERPs too.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Hugely.
it's not like we're just telling you just to go do something for the heck of it.
No, this is domain authority, this is search engine rankings, and this is traffic. And this is a preparation for certification level 3, because if you guys don't know this, the power of the video stuff, you got to do this because you're going to do the same kind of stuff for your automated blogs. And if we can't do it for our, broadcasting blogs, our WR1 profit, then can't do it for the automated stuff either. All of this, all of our layers and certification courses snowball you guys into ridiculous power. This is what we're trying to, it's also very flexible to your specific things. So the homework assignment is create, the main thing before the first thing that I gave you is set these up. Let us know when they're set up. Ping Matt, ping myself on Skype. Sue and Jimmy are around. We usually go to them when there's a question that I can't answer. I'll go to them. But I'm probably first line of defense, and then they're there. So when you guys get it done, just ping us, ping one of us privately, and we can just maybe talk through it or look at it for you. Give us a notification so it's checked off the list. Second one is extra credit. As you're going through this thing, remember last week's homework was to have all your RSS feeds, so you should know mostly where they are. Anything that you don't have or like maybe you didn't purchase a paid Storify account or something like that, okay, then just leave it off. But go through this system, set it up, and then let me know when you're done, okay? Or Matt, when you're done. Matt, remember Matt's in South Africa, so there's a different time zone. I'm in the US, so which is ever there. And then the extra credit, everybody remember the extra credit? Notice points that might have not been discussed. Did you find a service that works? Maybe you found an RSS feed that's got a domain authority, right? Everybody should have the Moz toolbar or the ability to determine domain authority and page authority. Give me a 1 if you have a toolbar that's providing you with that, and a 2 if you do not have that installed. And if you are giving me a number 2, the first thing that you need to do after we hang up is you need to go and get your Moz rank. Never mind, there's no 2s. Darn it. Can't yell at anyone. Okay. All right, so awesome. You guys are great. So I guess what I'm looking for is be creative. Bring it back to the community. Next week, we will talk about that. If you've noticed something that has a high domain authority, first of all, Jimmy loves it. If you introduce Jimmy, so does Matt and Sue. But if you find a platform or something along the way or a creative method like, wait, maybe I could do this. What if I stack this to this? Don't let it interfere with completing your step 1 homework assignment, which is finishing this chart, okay? But write it down. The extra credit will be, hey, I found a new domain authority to pass, new juice to pass. We'll run it by Jimmy, run it by Sue, or run it by Matt, and we'll give you honorable mention on the next webinar, okay? I will also get back to each one of you with the 30th Webby. The 30th is the RankWiz Webby, not to be mistaken for SPS. Sorry, Jimmy. And we'll go ahead and give you the exact date on that. I'll talk to Sue. We'll get it out to each one of you, and we'll cover all of that. Everybody make sense? Give me 1 if the homework assignment's clear. I'm going to write it down in the members area as well. And I'll do it much faster than I did last week's homework assignment page, which is now complete. If you did not finish just last week's meme stacking homework assignment because it wasn't on the page correctly and it was only in the slideshow, it's now on that page, get back to me and we will go through your homework assignment. Sue, do you have anything to add besides that?
No, I think we're good.
All right, you guys, this is awesome. I am definitely going to, this is the harder homework assignment. We're making you do the feed. Okay, we're going to call you out on it. We're going to look at it. I want to see it because you guys are badasses. All right. This has been Russell Wright, Sue Bell, Matt Cruz, Jimmy Kelley, Network Empire. We look forward to seeing you guys next week, and welcome to we're glad that you're part of the Network Empire family. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Thanks, guys.